Yeah. What is going on, guys? Just wanted to give my trade recap for tonight. Sorry about the bit of a late one. Um, Sorry about the late video. Me and my girl, we've just been binge watching Money Heist, and it's getting pretty hectic. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to her for actually being patient with me while trading. Taking a little step back from my movies to trade. And she supports it. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to her. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So, a high time frame bias, I was definitely bullish, just because we were reacting off 15-minute and um, 15-minute gaps, and we have all the stacked liquidity here that we could easily for price to easily target. We did have some liquidity to the downside just in case price actually wanted to come down, take out these lows, and then the reversal. So price wanted to look like it wanted to come down lower. We could actually fill in this area here as well as this unmitigated 1 hour. Have that and then have that V-shaped recovery back up. Well, what we ended up doing was actually respecting 50-minute structure to the point where um, we actually started holding from these 15-minute gaps and respecting them. And yeah, it kind of got really really choppy when London session opened, but I did see a setup that was valid, and yeah, I'll just go over that with you guys. But yeah, again, on the 1 hour we had some drills to the upside, more favorable to the upside. Um, and we did have some jolts to the downside, but again, filling in this 4 hour gap and displacing away from it just tells me that we're definitely in bullish order flow. Not the 4 hour yet, but definitely the 1 hour has switched bullish. Um, Especially when we've also taken out this gap as well, close well above it. Price came back in this area, retested it, and now we're getting that continuation again. So it's only like more confirmation. Like buyers definitely look more favorable in that area. On the 15-minute time frame, I just drew out what pre-market actually filled. As you can see, we actually filled these 15-minute and we're displacing away from it. Um, so as you can see, we made a high, we made a low, made a lower high. We tried to put in that low, but we couldn't. We weren't able to, and therefore we had a little structure break of the swing high. So I was just like, okay, cool. Now our 15-minute is now switch bullish. We can look to see what we can target. Like we can look to like the trade is more favorable for buys, right? So when we had that 15-minute switch to the upside, I'm just like, okay, cool. Well, now I just need to look for a pullback into a fair value gap to catch that continuation up to these highs and potentially these highs up here. So as you guys can see, the trade actually ends up playing out, but that's after 3 4 hours after market open. And like ideally we want to be in the trade within the first like hour or like the first uh 2 hours, I would say. But like this is like really really choppy. Um, Again, it's just one of those things where like we had the confirmation, but price just does whatever it wants, and we actually came down to fill whatever the fuck this is. Uh, yeah. So once we had that structure break, we actually had this little pullback down here. With that, we also had, um, you could consider this a breaker here. I mean, that's just extra confluence. I don't really use it, but it's something that I actually spot out while I'm trading. So we had that little breaker there with this whole move up. We also had a couple of fair value gaps as well. We had this 5 minute, and then also when price started retracing back down, we actually inversed this gap here. Oh no, we didn't. Oh, we did eventually, but we did have this gap here. And when price actually started making a pullback, we actually made this 15-minute gap that was also here as well. So, we had high time frame structure being bullish, the 1 hour, the 5 minute, and then the 15-minute switch bullish as well. We had a lot of bullish PDRAs, and pretty much what I was waiting for 1 minute confirmation. So with 1 minute confirmation, I was pretty much just looking for um, this fair value gap to be inverse because um, once we get that inverse, there was a 5 minute fair value gap above, but I wasn't really worried about it because again, all time frames, well, basically like the lower time frame included with the 5 minute and the 15 minute were actually bullish. We actually made it a bearish fair value gap on the pushback down, which actually pushed price lower, and we weren't able to kind of um, push away from that, even though we got a nice closure above the 1 minute, but on the 5 minute, we just pretty much just, wicked straight through it, took out all these internal highs, in which we crashed down again. But again, this is a trade I'll gladly take, um, just because we had bullish confirmation after tapping into this 15 minute. We waited for this inverse to get flipped because this is where sellers were actually trying to push down into. So, once we get that close above it, I was pretty much happy to take a trade off there. Stops were below these lows here. Um, and targeting these highs up here, which was the draw. Um, yeah, as you can see, like we're in really balanced price action. Um, you know, down and then moves up, down and then really, really choppy, and then really, really balanced here. Like like this is getting crazy. Um, we had this nice move down, taking out these internal lows, and then we chop straight up again. So it's kind of, I mean, for me, it's interesting to see how price reacts. In terms of this trade, I followed my plan, right? I'm happy to take that loss. Um, Again, we had that high time frame bias, which is our 1 hour, reacting for my 4 hour gap, which was down here. Uh, we react from this 4 hour gap, which is down here. As you can see, this is a 4 hour. This is a 4 hour structure here, and as you can see, we actually filled in this 4 hour gap, and now we're displacing away from it. And with that displacement, it actually switched the 1 hour bullish, and we had the 15-minute switch bullish as well on that move up. Um, Yeah, we had on this move up here on this nice bullish move up with displacement as well. The 5 minute we also had fair value gaps and also a 15-minute fair value gap created. We also inversed this 5 minute as well on that move up. So pretty much I was just all signs were going bullish, right? We had a high time frame bias. Um, we had our liquidity. Um, we had our liquidity taken on the fact that um, we actually took out these previous lows and then displaced from it. So, we can see here we made a high, then a low, high, and then we actually take out these lows here, and then we make a high, or like pretty much like the candle was here. But with that high, we took out these previous lows, and we get a bullish confirmation with this 1 minute being flipped. As you can see, like price is like we hold that fair value gap pretty strong. We're unable to close above it, but once we get a sweep of these lows once again, and we get a nice push through above it, we get that nice V-shaped recovery. Um, and we actually closed above it. So like everything ticked off. Like to me, like this is pretty much a good trade. I would take this. Um, though it wasn't A plus, just because we weren't in a 1 hour or 4 hour gap that we were able to take a trade from. But again, with what price was giving us when it opened, we weren't near any 1 hour POIs or fair value gaps or anything. We weren't near any 1 hour highs. We were kind of in between both. Um, both the ranges from this high to this low. So it's kind of like trading in between, but also like reading current structure as well. That the 15-minute was bullish, and we just saw confirmation. So yeah, once we entered here, as you can see, price drops down a little bit, and we actually um, get that nice push through, and I think this is 10 o'clock. Yeah, pretty much 1 minute after 10 o'clock, we had that straight push back down again. I actually set my stop loss down to these lows because once we break these lows, this was a low that was put in before we made that higher high, which is what we had here. So this is the low that was put in. So I got out at here because I told myself that hey, if we're able to do this in one candle, chances are we're actually coming down to fill in more of this range here, which is exactly what happened. We filled in this range, but it's also interesting as well because down in this range there was no 15-minute POI, no nothing. It was just a 5-minute Fair Value Gap and a 5-minute inverse, which also um, which got closed below. So it's just like it's just I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know where price is actually coming in to fill this area. Um, and we actually closed. The fact that we closed below it is interesting. So, uh, yeah. Um, but yeah, this is the only trade I took. Again, nothing much I could do in terms of like setting, um, setting my, uh, setting my, setting my stop loss here. Um, because again, this like destruction candle actually happened in a span of a minute. So candle pretty much just took me out straight away. But you can see that would have been a full loss if we weren't able to cover our risk. So again, it was a loss, but we were able to save some of that as well. So um, yeah. So that pretty much wraps up this trade. Let me know what you guys think. Again, thank you so much to my girl for actually being patient with me while I'm trading. Um, I dedicated, an hour and a half to uh, take a trade or to get on the markets, which she was patient for. So I just wanted to thank her for that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless. Take care. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.